Hiker Curandera here in August of 2022. And as you can see from the pictures, we have traveled back in time to when I actually had blue hair to June 2018. This was my first ever solo camping trip, and I did a lot to go from what you're about to see next. I love to glamp. As you can see, I carry multiple tents. There's my 10 by 10 kitchen tent and also a 10 by 10 pop up. The tablecloth, if you can look inside the kitchen, there is literally everything, including the kitchen sink. There is an oven, 2 propane stoves, 3 burners, the whole shebang. Um, in the bottom picture, you can even see a camp shower. So even if I go somewhere without a shower, I'm still able to shower. That comes from my reenactment days with the SCA, Society of Creative Anachronism, Go Pirates. Um, but I had to take all of that, the comfort I'm used to in camping, and change it into a motorcycle. And I was able to do it. So, how did I change from glamping to very trimmed down motorcycle camping? A lot of research. Back in 2018, though, I was very disappointed to not find very many women motorcycle campers making YouTube videos. And so I said, one day I will do that. One day I will. So here I am, 2022, looking back in time at 2018 and how I figured out how to be comfortable motorcycle camping. Since I wasn't sure if I was going to like motorcycle camping, but I was determined to give it a go, I kept everything really inexpensive and did a lot of my shopping on Walmart and the rest on Amazon, giving myself a limit that I wouldn't spend more than $50 on any one item. In the trunk are the things I needed to reach all the time because, as you see, when I loaded everything up, I couldn't open the panniers. The tent is from Walmart with a little tarp underneath it and sealed against the rain. Little collapsible table and chairs, super love. On one side of the pannier, I have my clothes and detergent and a clothesline so I could wash and hang my clothes. You definitely want something that you can hang your towel on when you shower, even if it's just like a binder clip that you clip to your windshield of your motorcycle, if you have one. Then I have my food stuff, which I got as a kit on Amazon. The only upgrade was the Jetboil silverware because it extends, and then I didn't have to use pots and pans. I could just eat out of the bag because that's how I roll. Then I had a tiny toolkit that I've since upgraded, but the essentials, right? Tools to get into your motorcycle in case you need to get to the battery, electrical tape, duct tape, that sort of thing. Of course, I have my makeup. And then in that yellow bag, I have all my camping stuff. So I bought a self-inflating air mattress that FTA Adventures recommended. And then I didn't want to spend money on a sleeping bag, so I used a cheap one. That was a mistake. I was really cold and I didn't sleep in thermals that first night. I do now. Pack thermals as pajamas. Highly recommend. So I ended up having to bring a sleeping bag liner later in camping, and that just takes up a lot of room. Although putting the sleeping bag in the yellow bag gave me a really nice backrest. Can't complain about that. You'll also notice my camel bag for drinking water. Super glad I had that at the first stop. It was supposed to have water, and it didn't. Hard to make dehydrated food without water. This wasn't just my first motorcycle camping solo trip. This was my first solo trip going a far distance. So, you guys who have your iron butts, this won't seem very far to you, but it was over 400 miles, and I didn't think I could do that in a day. Now I know I totally can do 500 miles in a day, no problem. But back then in 2018, I wasn't sure. So I asked if anybody knew a campsite halfway between. And so my friend gave me the Nottingham campground as a destination. I didn't research it. I just trusted that it would be a good campground. And it's very pretty, as you can see from the picture. And it also has no water and no flushing toilets. Can we go back to the first slide where I showed you how I glamp? So this was quite a shock. Luckily, I had not drank all the water in my camel bag, but I barely had enough water to make my dinner and coffee in the morning. I'm a Cuban woman. No puedo empezar el día sin un cafecito, coño. You have to have your coffee in the morning. But it doesn't seem to matter because if you look at my smiling face in these pictures, I was just so proud of myself, proud that I made it to the campground because the directions were not that great and I'm super directionally impaired. I have learned since then, cheap trick, if you have a windshield and a dry erase marker, you can write, as long as it doesn't rain, your directions on your windshield. That way, if you lose interwebs and you lose your GPS, you could still read your exit. Wonderful trip. What you learned going to rallies, right? So I make it to the campground right outside. There's this lovely restaurant, and I'm trying to push my motorcycle back, and I would have gotten it, but I've since learned it's okay to accept help. Well, Alice was sitting right there with her friend Kathy, and they saw me trying to move my motorcycle back, and they jumped up and helped me move my motorcycle back. And that's how we became friends. She even ended up housing me later in the season when I went to the Hells Canyon motorcycle rally. It is amazing how when you make friends who ride motorcycles that you are just instantly bonded. I know I was by myself, and a lot of people are like, oh, I would never do that. I would never ride a motorcycle by myself and go somewhere. You make friends if you want to. I guarantee you, you make friends. It was super awesome. That night, I ended up meeting just a bunch of guys. Alice was staying in an RV, but I was tent camping. And I can't remember if I was the only girl by herself tent camping. I might have been. It's possible. Anyway, I ended up hanging out with all these guys who've ridden BMWs for years and years and years, and they went into daddy mode. So they were asking me what all I brought since it was my first time. And I'll give you the tips they gave me, which ended up saving me later. Get an air compressor. They're portable, they're cheap on Amazon, and get a battery charger. Again, lightweight, cheap on Amazon. Have both of those items have ended up saving me while I've been traveling by myself, and they're not difficult to use. You really need those items. One more plug for going to the rallies, even if you're going by yourself. The classes they teach on cornering and packing for camping trips are phenomenal. All kinds of classes that you can take, and the friends you make. You're going to have a good time. Don't keep yourself at home due to fear. Dress for the slide, not the ride. As you see, I'm wearing a mesh jacket with armor. You can make it warmer with a heated jacket or even just a sweatshirt, and you can make it cooler with a cooling vest. Most gas stations will let you take some ice and water from the bathroom, and so you can replenish your cooling vest and keep it cool that way. I'm also wearing Kevlar jeans you can't see, so I bring two pairs of jeans because again, you can wash them in the shower. All the gear, all the time.